Hi, my name is Wolfram. I'm the CEO of Famous. At Famous, we implement a software called ERPNext. ERPNext is based on the Frappe framework. In today's video, I would like to show you a quick overview of what Frappe framework is and help you to understand how this can be used in your organization. Here we see the home screen of Frappe framework. In this case, I have logged in as the user administrator and see this home screen, also called the desk in ERPNext. In this desk view, we can see in the left-hand side different modules that are selectable. We see in the center of the page a so-called workspace, which we can fully edit or create new workspaces, which will then also be added to the left menu bar. The decisive piece to understand using Frappe framework is a so-called Doctype. By typing Doctype into this search bar, we see this Doctype list, which I will open. In this Doctype list view, we just see a list of several different Doctypes. I'll give a quick overview of what we can see in this page. In this page, we are on the so-called list view. This list view can be switched to other views also, which we will look at in later videos. There are different filter options on the left at the top of this page, and also a button here to filter through all the fields that exists within this Doctype. We can sort the list depending on different data. To look into a existing Doctype, well, we'll take the Doctype user. To better understand what this user is, let me go right to the user list, where we see what the Doctype will look like in its finished form. We see here that there are 3 users in the system: administrator, guest, and Wolfram. Let me open this user Wolfram. We see on this page that this is also structured in a specific way. On the left-hand side, there is this image view, which can be added to a Doctype if wished. We can assign this to any user existing in the system. We can add attachments from all sorts of sources. We can add tags, existing tags of the system. There are no in this instance at the moment. And also we can share this specific user document with any user of the system, giving them certain permissions that we would like to choose from. Further, we can like this and follow it. This will send us emails when the dataset is updated. We see this speech bubble, which will receive a count when putting a comment. We can see when this was last edited, and we can see when it was created. If we hover over timestamps in general in this system, we will get the detailed timestamp of when this was created. At the top of the page, we can see different buttons. They change from doctype to doctype. We can switch between the doctypes, going from guest to the administrator and forward again, back to our form. There's a print symbol which will open a print view, which is customizable and which can be exported as a PDF. Going back to the form view, there are further options that can be applied to this doctype, which we can cover later. In this main section of the doctype, we can see that there are different tabs. We can see that tabs can have section headings, which are collapsible. All these options can be set within the doctype, which we will look at soon. Further, we have the actual data fields. They can be checkboxes, can be simple data entries, there can be selections of different data, and many more. Going back to the user doctype view, we can, let me put this side by side. We can compare these two. So, and here in the left, make this a little smaller. So, in the left-hand side here, we have the doctype of the user. Here we see in the tab form, there's user details tab, which we can also see here on the right. And we see there's an enabled field that is email, first name, middle name, last name. Email, first name, middle name, last name. This is the way the doctype is built and structured. There are different fields that are showed. For example, this time zone field that we selected earlier. There's no. For example, this language field, we see it's a link field. The full name field, we see it's a data field. This send welcome email is a check field. Now, for example, this field is not visible over here, as we can see. So this is probably hidden by some code shown here. In this specific case of a user, we cannot actually change the doctype. So let's create a new doctype. Demo Doctype. Module custom. There are different options that I can set, which I will not get into too deeply. You can read about these things in the documentation or watch it in future videos. Let's create this doctype. So we see that there's no fields yet, no sections, and we will add our first section. We don't need to give this section a label, and we will start with also the field first name. Sorry, this has to be the data type, data, and we name it first name. This is all we need to create a doctype and save it. This is allowing us to save it. From this point onward, we will be able to find it within the system. In case we don't find it straight away, like shown here, it is mostly necessary to reload. This empties the cache and makes sure that all data is refreshed. So, typing now, Demo Doctype list. We open the list view of Demo Doctype. We can add a new Demo Doctype. And here we see the first name. Now, we can add further fields to this. Data, last name. we'll put a date to this, birth date, and we can add some further fields. Let me think of something. We can, we'll take a link field and do country of birth. Now, as we've chosen this type of link, we now need a link. This can be done by the options, and to do this, we will do the country. This is the pre-existing doctype of the Frappe framework. So we'll just make use of that to save some time here. So these dates for now, I'll leave them as they are. We have a few new fields. If I reload this page, then I have these new fields. Now, first name, my name is Wolfram, my last name is Schmidt, birth date 11th of June 1988. I can type this without dots. This does also change. There are other ways of data input as well. If we want to change, if the separators, we can do this in the system settings. The country of birth we saw was filled automatically. We have the possibility to fill certain fields automatically. This can be done via session defaults. We can go to settings here and create session defaults. Now, why this country is automatically filled, I cannot tell you, probably because of some system settings. We have the possibility via session defaults, though, to set any field that we want with a pre-existing value. This can be useful for example, if you have an employee working in a certain department, that his department is always auto-selected when he is opening a new record of a certain doctype. I'll leave this for empty now and go back to our doctype that we created, the Demo Doctype. Now, to open this a little further, I'll go back to the Demo Doctype list view. I can do that by pushing this breadcrumb up here. And now we see this. Now the ID, this is a hexadecimal ID auto-created by the system. This I can also change in the settings. So let's check here. This is done by a so-called naming rule. Naming rules can be very important and used strategically within creating your doctypes. Some you will want with a normal human readable name. Others you might want with a certain prefixed naming series. For example, invoices, you might want to have INV minus, and then at the running year, and then another minus, and then an increment which will count every time you create a new invoice. We will do something similar. We'll take the auto increment here and save this. Okay. So don't worry about it. We'll do set by the user. Prompt is, it will prompt us to do so. So we create this, duplicate. I'll just create a different one. Let's call this Jerry Schmidt and make him 2 years younger than me and also in Germany, and save this. Please hit the document name. It's not allowing us to do this. Here we go. So Jerry, first name, and Jerry. I need birth date. So sorry, I missed what I did. I just reload the page on my MacBook, Command R or Control R. Also F5 will work to reload the page, or you can do this. Sorry for doing this in the background. So I save this. Now the name of the doctype is also Jerry. So we'll go here, Demo Doctype. Now we see the two. We have the possibility of renaming these as well. This can be also set in within the doctype if that should be possible or not. Renaming happens by clicking on the title on the left here, and I'll just give it my name as well. This checkbox merge with existing, what it will do is it will merge it with an existing one that holds this value as a name. So if I put Jerry in here, then the two data sets would be merged if I check this box and rename. In this case, we just want to rename it, and we see that the value up here has changed. Going back to the list view, we can now see we have two data sets. We see there are, when last changes have been made, we see if there's any comments in any of these hearts. This is a simple list view. List view can be edited via list settings. Here you can set all sorts of options. Also, you can say how many fields, how many columns we want to have in the width of the list view. This sometimes bugs, by the way. You want to select always one more column than you have. This was something in version 14. I'm not sure if this is the case in here. Also, this is new since 15, is that we can, by the looks of it, auto set filters. We will look at that another time. Okay, so we have the list view here. Also, to influence what is in list view, we can do this going into the form settings. Now we'll do birth date and add this in list view. We'll do last name and say in list view and first name. This is now the same as the ID, but this is more coincidence. So we can also put this in list view. I'll save this. We will reload the page. And now we see that the names have been added. Now the birth date has not been added, although it is selected. This might be due to what I was saying earlier. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. If I select 5, I save this, and there's the birth date. So, what can we do now? On this list view, again, we see all the single instances of this data. We'll just do another one, and we'll do a Hannah Huber. Sorry. And do a birth date, 1st of April, 1997. And this will be Ireland. Save this, go back to list view. So we have three different entries now. And they have all sorts of data. And what we can do in list view is we can filter this data. Now, overall, again, there's this filter on the right-hand side with which we can filter any field within the Doctype. Now, you'll see that we have the first name, the last name, and also the birth date and the country of birth, but we also see that there are many more fields. So the tags, the index comments, this is metadata, which is auto-created when the Doctype instant is created. For example, this last updated or last by or last updated on, this is data that we can read from here. And yeah, we remember here we have the timestamp. So what I'm trying to say is not only can we filter these fields that we created, but rather beyond that as well. Now we will do a last name and say that we want to filter for Schmidt. We know there's 2 entries of the 3, so we apply this, and now we see that the 3rd record has been hidden. This filter applies. These filters can be saved as well. This happens on the right side here. We can save these last name Schmidt. when saving these filters, you might want to apply something meaningful for you to remember what they are. If we set this tick for is global, then everyone can see this filter. Otherwise, it's just the logged in user that will have access to this filter on this view. On this doc type, I have to say, this will also apply to other views which can be selected here. By hitting the return button, this is saved here, and when this is deleted, it can just be clicked on, and then this filter is applied once more. Further options are these filters on the left here. We can see assigned to, none is assigned to anyone, created by me, 3 have been created. Also, I can hit edit filter and say, okay, show me the country of birth. And now what this filter does, it counts the existing records inside of the data. Further, there are tags. There are no tags set at the moment. Show tags, this will show this tagline in the list view. Now, we will switch to a second view, which is very important in the system. This is the report view. We see again that the filter is still saved here. I can click this and it will apply this same thing as in the list view. Further, also we see the country of birth still shows here. Now, the difference between report view and list view, let me make this a little wider, is that it's a little bit more customizable to the user in the system. So, for example, what you can do, you can swap columns. Important is, when moving these, you're swapping these. So, if I change birth date with last name, it's actually going to change birth date with last name. This might sound somewhat counterintuitive, because if you want to do a resorting, you'll just have to pull this one step by step. That just as a side note. So you can move these columns. You can set, if you want to sort them, ascending, descending, reset the sorting, remove the column. Doesn't matter, you're not deleting any data. You just removed it from this view. Going to these 3 dots and then pick columns, you can reselect this column and just add it back to your view. There are groups you can add. This is, for example, we have sorted with the countries earlier, country of birth. I can do a count, and then it will show me all the values that exist in this field and how many of those entries hold that value. We'll close this for now. Report view, list view. There are more views, dashboard and Kanban. There are also tree views and Gantt views and calendar views, and surely some more that I'm not remembering right now. These will help you structure the right data in the right view. Now, getting into these entries, we did a link field earlier. So we have this user, Hannah Huber, born on the 1st of April 1997, country of birth Ireland. So we can switch into this link field by clicking onto this arrow, and now we will be in the country Ireland. Now, this has a backlink to this dataset, to the Demo Doctype. This can be found out via the links here in this menu. There is this Demo Doctype. Also, there are options to show the link in a dashboard, which I will show you in a different example. In this case, we have a IT landscape, and you can see there are 10 IT host items within this landscape. This happened by adding this ITM landscape as a link field to this doc type. Switching there, we see there's 10. What it will do here, when clicking this, it will also automatically set the filter ITM landscape. Okay, going back to our demo Doctype. Now, we have seen how we can create different data sets. Now, there are other ways of collecting this data in the system, one of which is doing this via a so-called web form. So, going back to this left part of the screen, we'll go to connections and we'll create a web form. This will be, please put in your data. This is the title and also the route. So basically here's a web form and then this is the route. Introduction, please input your name and birth info for this demo Doctype. So we can add here, we can see this, for example, is a text editor field. So there's many options to format text. We can put colors in this, underline it, put tables in it, add images, and so on. Now, web form fields, this will ask us what fields it is. If we click here, get fields, it will collect all the fields that are in this Doctype. Now we see here are these fields. Now we might say that we don't want all the fields. We can then manipulate the function of this field on this setting here. So basically, as an example, let's go to Hannah. We saw when we create something here, we can create a John and just save it. Nothing stopping us from doing that. Now, this obviously is not very well collected data. We wouldn't want to make sure that certain data is definitely collected. So in this case, I can make sure to, via this web form, set certain data to be mandatory. You can see it here. It's the abbreviation here. And we'll just set this, and this mandatory. We save this. And that's all we need to do to create a web form. Now, what we'll do is we'll publish this. By publishing it, changes the status, and we see this button, see on website. So what happened now? I'll just quickly go into the settings here. We have now created a public website to which anyone can go and put in this data, rather than having to log in with a user account to our system. There is the option to set that a login is required to do so, but we can go past this by leaving this empty. So if I click on this link, we see this web view. On this web view, we can see that I'm still logged in, but you could also open this page now without being logged in. Let me quickly show you this. So we can open a new private window, add this link, and then we can see that we are not logged in, and we can put in this data, first name, I'll put Daniel Turner, birth date 5th of July 90. Country of birth is Afghanistan. We save this. Please set document name. It won't let us save this because of the missing name prompt, but we see that we cannot set this via this screen. So we'll quickly go back and change this. We'll go to the Demo Doctype. We'll go to and set this by a field name and just take the first name. So this first name field is this field, and now we should be able to save this record. It has been submitted. I can submit another response, and Jennifer Appleseed, birth date 1991, and country of birth is error. Save this. So going back to our list view, Demo Doctype, we see that new entries have been created. Opening this, so because this web form entry was done by a non-logged in user, it was created as the guest, who is basically a generic user for all these purposes. So that's one way of collecting data into your system by anyone outside of your system and making sure that you receive it exactly the way you need it to be by, for example, setting these mandatory fields. Now, moving on, what else can we do with Doctypes? Let me open this to the left. We saw some connections here. We now have a web form. We'll just go from top to bottom through these things, and I'll make a short description of what it is. So if we want to create a report name, a report is the report view we saw. So let's do this. We'll go here, report, and we will set, we'll add some more columns. We'll set the country of birth column. Now we see we have 3 Germanys. Now let's set a filter and say country of birth not equals Germany. So we want all the entries where Germany doesn't apply. Now we can save this, go to 3 dots, save as non-Germany. We submit this, and now this is saved. Now saved reports can be selected in the report view on the left here. It's not opening anything because there are several at the moment. And yeah, once these are saved, then they should also turn up here. So we see here, now created in the report, non-Germany. And this is now linked also to this doctype. The next one would be a print format. Print format is what we saw earlier. If I open one of these records, we have this print button. And here we can see this. This is just standard, and I can customize this, create a new print format, my custom print format, and save this. In this print format builder, I can realign the fields. Let's do add a new section, just move these in a new section. Birth date like this. Give this maybe a name, call it birth details. And go here and give it a name, details. Save this. And then we can go back to the left here. We reload this page. And if I'm not mistaken, we should also have a print format. Now, there's a calendar view. Calendar view, as we've created these, obviously we can have a calendar view with the birth dates. So let's quickly create this. Demo birth dates. Subject field. Subject field is what we will see on the calendar view, like on the tile of the day, let's say, or the appointment. We'll do the first name in this case. Start data field is birth date, end data field is birth date. So here we'll always filter and check if there are data fields with the data type date or date time to be applied. These are all day events. We'll save this. So let's already do that. When we hit show calendar up here, we can see a calendar view. Now we'll have to quickly go back here and probably scroll a little, because obviously the birth dates will be within the birth year. So 1998, 8 is the youngest one. So this might be a little, So we'll just quickly create a new one to not have to click through that too long. So we'll do Jack Rock and make this guy 2023. He is a young one. And now we can just go to May. And then we see that this Jack is turning up here. I can click on this and then it opens this data record. That would be the calendar view. To jump back, May 2023. I can also switch to week or day up here. Did we say 7th of May? So we see that Jack's birthday is right here. Okay. That was a calendar view, a Kanban board. A Kanban board, we can also open, you can see here field name that there's no selection. So to make sure to get this work, we need to add a certain field into the Demo Doctype. So I will go back into the Demo Doctype, go to Form View, add another field. Now what we need here is a select field. Let's think of a halfway. It doesn't really matter. We'll just do a color field and give this some options. So we're going to leave it empty. First option, so we leave it blank. We're going to make this non-mandatory. And do red, green, yellow, and blue. We save this and go to connections, go to Kanban board, colors, and now we can see here that we can select from the field color that we have created. Now it will add the columns that we have selected. We can set a name, could even change it, set a status, if it's going to be visible or not. We can change the color of the indicator. We'll just align this with whatever we have on the left. Over this pen we can see if there's further options. We can set here orders. I'm not sure how to do this, but I'm sure this is not very hard to find out. So we have here this button, show board, and now you can see we have a Kanban board. Now we don't have any records showing here. This is because none of the entries have any color yet. I'll just select a red here. I'll save this and refresh here, and then we can see that Jack has appeared here. We'll go back, add another one yellow, and now Jennifer is also here with a yellow field, and we can drag and drop this into blue. So we will then have to reload, and now you can see how also the color changed here. So this is a Kanban view. This could be, for example, used for your sales orders going through certain processes, your projects, your tasks, whatever it is. Open, review, working, finished, something like that. And you can apply this on any doc type in the system. So going back, we have looked at all these views. In the next column, we see these rules, auto repeat. Auto repeat is a function in which I can have a certain doc type be duplicated. I'm not sure why this is not working. To configure auto repeat, enable. Okay. So we need to switch, allow auto repeat in the doc type. This is probably in the settings. this is allow form settings, allow auto repeat. So if we save this, then we can go back to the connections. We can create an auto repeat reference document. We'll take Daniel and then frequency, say that it's supposed to create in any of these frequencies. I'm going to do weekly up until, set an end date, repeat on what day it should be repeated, and I can set a notification by email. I can set a recipient who should receive this. This is just free entry, comma separated, will work. Also, we can get from contacts. I can select a template for the email. This would be for the message itself. Set a subject, and in this email message I can also use variables to reference any data inside of my doctype. And then at the bottom here we can choose from a print format, my custom print format. This is the one we created earlier. Okay, we can create this. I'm not sure if I can, so I won't be able to trigger this right now, because what happens is there's a so-called scheduled job which runs at midnight, and that will then create, you know, on this day will create the new entry. So also I'm going to disable this for now, because we don't need this running in this system and, you know, having a new Daniel record created every week. But basically what it does, just to give you an idea what will happen, is we have Daniel here, and basically what it does is goes here and just duplicates this data entry and would save it. Demo Doctype Daniel already exists, so we can see there is a conflict because of the name. We have to do Daniel 2, then you would be able to save it. So in this case, our auto repeat would not work. We would have to make sure that the naming series, which we chose by creating this doctype, is different, so it will create a new entry with a new name every time. This message that we got, this would be an error message that would then just appear in the middle of the night. This error message you will want to make sure that an administrator or some other person is informed about, so you can fix these things. Next would be an assignment rule. Now an assignment rule is a rule that we set up to assign a doctype to a certain user. Let's quickly look at the doctype on the right here. We have this assign to, and we can do this by saying we want to assign this to Wolfram. If we add this, we can see the avatar also in the list view. We can see this avatar. If you upload a profile picture, then your picture will show here. So, and this functionality I can do automatically. So let's say in the case of a birthday, I would want that a record is assigned to a certain user, let's say a week before the birthday. So assign before birthday, Demo Doctype, now due based on birthday. Priority, higher priority, don't need this at the moment. Description will be the heading. You will receive an email with this assignment also, and this would be the email subject. Assignment condition we can do. Now let's make this a little different actually. So we'll just make this dependent on colors. Yeah, to make this so. Assign when blue. So only in the case when this switches to blue, it will be assigned to someone. So we go here and say color equals blue. unassigned condition, we'll do, when it goes back to red, the assignment will be deleted. Color red. Close condition when it's green. I'll just quickly copy this. Green. Now we say all days, and round, we have three different types of assigning. Round robin would be, if you have 5 people, it just goes around in a circle. Load balancing means that it will always be assigned to the one with the least assignments already created. And the last one, based on field, would be if we have a field, I'll just quickly select this, in which there is a user. We can also do this. In this case, I'm going to do the owner. The owner of the Doctype is the one who created it. So we save this. It is enabled. Let's see if this works. So this is assigned to Wolfram at the moment, but the owner is the administrator. So when we set this to blue and we save this, it says administrator assigned. No, this is what we did earlier. So it doesn't seem to do it. Color blue. I'll just go through these. No. So I have to work on my conditions here. Maybe I have to delete these. Green is not defined. Green is not defined. Interesting. Let's quickly clean this up. Go to blue. Blue. So reapply these. Yellow. Sorry, I have to save this. Blue. So now it's working. The reason why it didn't work is probably because someone else was already assigned. So if a record is already assigned to someone, then a future assignment will not work. Blue, we've assigned it. Red, we unassign the condition. Blue, we reassign it and close the condition. And green, we save this and it's gone. Now, the difference between close and unassign is the following. If I put this on blue once again, then we see that there are 3 assignments. Not sure why I did this, but we'll find out. These assignments are the to-do Doctype. You can see here that to-do Doctype has been created on 3 records at the moment. These 3 just now. So automatic assignment. This is Daniel 2. We're going back here. Now this is in status open. Now let's see when we get this. I'll just quickly duplicate this page, bring it to the left, put these side by side and go back on the actual record. And now we will get this, we see this. Now we'll go to green, which is going to close the condition. So we save this, we refresh this, and now we see these are closed. Go back to blue, we save this, see these are open. Now we go to red, we save this, and now we see they're cancelled. So there are 3 different states here, and these statuses also, let me open this, open, closed, cancelled. If we think of the Kanban view earlier, we could create a Kanban of our to-dos. Maybe there's already an existing one in place. Let's have a look. List view, Kanban, to-do status. Yeah, and then we can see this, and we're going to blue here and updating, and this automatic is assigned. So you can see hopefully how these assignment rules work. These can be quite complex. As soon as you want to have users following after one another, you have to make sure to configure these very thoroughly and correctly. So there is, in your line of assignments, there are no gaps that something falls out of someone's list, but rather you want to make sure that it is always in someone's list with an open assignment up until it's closed, and then a further action should be triggered. So, assignment. Energy point rule I'm not going to go into right now. Energy points are like collecting experience points within the system for doing certain things, and you can set up how many experience points should be applied for doing something. Workflows. This also we will cover in a future video. Also customizations, custom field client scripts and server scripts. This we will also cover in a future video. I'm very thankful that you've taken the time to listen to this video and that you are interested in learning ERPNext or the Frappe framework, which we've been looking at today. If you have further questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in this video. Also, we'd be happy if you subscribe to our channel and like this video to spread this great software around the world. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very pleasant day.